All right, so it's super late, but I'm going to attempt to make a video because I've got at least two to make tomorrow, potentially three. Um, so I was watching this show called The Bear tonight, and I basically binged the entire thing. It's only like 8 episodes, eight like 20-ish minute episodes, or actually 30-minute episodes. And there was an episode that was dedicated to a flashback of his parents. And there's a lot of like mental health issues in the show. Like it starts off with the brother who committed suicide, and the mom is like this. I don't know if she's supposed to be like borderline or bipolar. I don't know what they're trying to say that she is, but um, there's this episode where they're having Christmas dinner, and the mom is in the kitchen and she's making everything, and like the whole story like centers around this restaurant because he's like this fancy chef who went to chef school, but cooking has always like been a huge part of there or whatever. And so she's in the kitchen making this like Italian Christmas dinner or whatever, and it takes her like hours. And there's a part like she's slowly just getting more and more erratic during the night, like during the evening, and like drinking throughout the entire process. And then finally, like, she has this moment and she's talking to the main character, who's her son. And she is like saying all of these things like, if I was gone, nobody would miss me. And, no one appreciates what I do and all this stuff. And um, she says, I spend all this time making things beautiful for everybody, and no one makes anything beautiful for me. And the son's just kind of listening and just trying to like keep her from spiraling. But like that part, like I don't know, it really like resonated with me. Like I really felt that, not in the sense of like, oh yeah, I'm totally with you, like I make beautiful things and no one cares. It's like what she was describing, that's not even like mental illness. That is, to me, like she hit on something real. She was hit on something real when she said that. Um, like there's nothing. She's not okay because of that. Like to me, that to me is the perfect example of why I think that people are crazy to try and do this life without God. Like, forget the sin thing and the whole like what you think this whole thing centers around. Like that feeling of you making like only she knows what that emptiness is. And she's not crazy for feeling that. Like, and I don't think that they were trying to make it seem like that in and of itself, but everything really you could see that whether they meant to do that or not, like everything she was doing was stemming from this uh, dissatisfaction that she had. And it's just something that just fundamentally comes with life, because this life is imperfect and just fundamentally not fulfilling. And so you're trying to do something, you're trying to do the thing that you love to do here, and you still have to deal with the pain of, it just seems like everything is sort of non reciprocal. And that sucks. Like, I don't know what these people who don't have God are doing. Like, because to me, it's missing the point to make this about absolution or trying or being holy or whatever. Like, you need someone to talk to when you're going through life making things beautiful for everyone else and no one's making things beautiful for you, because there is nothing in this world that can really soothe that pain, because that is part of like what we are made. We're made to have this, to get the reciprocity, to love and be loved back. And you just simply cannot get that here. You might be able to sort of scrounge up something, some kind of semblance of something. Maybe you're giving love to this person and not getting it back from them and getting it somewhere else or whatever, but it never works quite right. And it's almost like a drain. It works so wrong that it's draining. And you need God to help you continue to do this job, because it is taxing until you can leave this place and go to the better place. So to me, it was like that moment she was hitting on something really, really, really deep and fundamental. But when you don't have God in your life, it's just, oh, this person is mentally ill and they can't cope and the rest of us can. It's like, maybe, or you know excuse me, maybe she's not necessarily mentally ill, but she's just more sensitive than another person. Maybe someone else's mother is going through the exact same thing, but they just can mask the pain and keep it all inside, or they just realize they have a different perspective, and so they're able to whatever. But I think moms, in general, go through something similar to this anyways, um, where you just realize, like, okay, I'm just going to be working till I die, and no one's going to find my body until they realize, like, there's no food on the table. And, like, you just have to be okay with that. And some people will insist, like, no, you don't have to be okay with that. You should go out and follow your dreams. Like, they think that the the solution to that is to go out and make your life what you want it to be. And there is no solution to that. That is just the nature of this place. Either you're going to endure that or you're going to force someone else to endure it. And there's really no other choice, because we are not in a state to do this. And so, not only is God someone who can talk you through that and help you to get through that, because he is God and he can reassure you that what you're doing is right, even if nobody notices or cares or whatever. But the fact that we have a God who came down as a man and who suffers, who has suffered, and you can literally, like, he literally understands, is like such an overlooked piece of the puzzle that's like amazing, that even if you don't think it's real, like, that's, you have to admit that that detail is like super intensely great. So, is there anybody that understands that more than God, making things beautiful for other people, and that they don't notice? You know what I mean? Like, he really can empathize with everything that we go through, on top of just being able to give us the energy we need to keep going until this thing is over. So, like, I don't know. I just watched that and I was like, man, that is the reason why you turn to God. It's not just, we're not all just weak people who need crutches Like, it's just such a deception and so turned around. Um, and then it's sort of like there are moments when you do need crutches, like if you can't walk. Like, it's not wrong to need a crutch, first of all. Secondly, it's so upside down. It's like you need a crutch like nobody's business if you're going through this life without God. Like, we don't need crutches anymore because we got God. It's like the complete opposite of what people think it is. It's so crazy. Um, but yeah, like, no one expects, no one who isn't a Christian or isn't, a person of faith, whatever, a believer. Um, hold on. Never mind, false alarm. Um, yeah, no one who isn't a believer um, understands what it's like to have God. So they don't even know what you would do with that. Um, and yeah, you wouldn't until it happens. So I'm sure that they have all kinds of ideas of what it means, but it's basically the best description, the best example that I've seen so far is that moment in that show. It's like God is the person who understands when you feel that deep sense of satisfaction that you feel like you cannot tell any other person about, because you really likely can't. Everyone's going through something, and not everybody wants to hear about the thing that you think is hard. Um, but God is there, and I would encourage everybody, believer or none, to really utilize this uh, outlet that is available to you, because um, I can't imagine going through something like that literally by yourself. And in the show, she's trying to explain to people, and people just think she's being histrionic and over the top. But it was like, as soon as she said that, I was like, oh, I know what that is. I know what that ache is. That is not something that there's no cure for that. It's like people will have these moments where they can feel the natural malaise of this place and blame it on themselves because they see everybody else walking around and able to function. But it's like those people aren't really functioning. They have their own ways of coping too, typically. But that thing that if you've ever heard people describe going from being a non-believer to a believer, and they see a believer and they go, there's something different about them, I want what they have, which I've heard a bunch of times too. And gotta say, I don't quite know what they're seeing or describing, but I imagine it's something like uh, that. A person who doesn't have that same uh, gnawing emptiness inside, that doesn't have a place. And, it's not this existential thing. Oh, you're just deeper than everybody else. And so just sit with the pain. It's not some, people feel like they're not equipped to be a churchgoer or, one of these faith people or whatever. And it's like literally you can see, especially if you're a believer, you can see the signs, you can see it on other people. It's like you are exercising right now your knowledge, your inherent knowledge of the truth, when you pinpoint something and you're like, this something is not right with this, or just why can't I get happy? Why can't I get you feel like you're this vessel and you should be able to hold all of this stuff and the life is just simply not giving it to you. And you think you're supposed to chase and you're supposed to do this and you're supposed to achieve and do all these things and so you put God on the back burner because he's kind of getting in the way because he's going to have you like sit down and not do any of that stuff, and he's sort of getting in the way of this thing that you feel like you ought to do. And that's why a lot of people have to wear themselves out doing that and realize that it's an uphill battle that's just not real, that you can never whatever. And then they finally go, okay, God, what do you got? What you got? And they realize that's what it was all along. So, um, yeah, that was just stuff I was thinking about. But um, yeah, that part was really deep to me. And yeah, we need Jesus, y'all. We need God. I saw something really good the other day, which is just talking about how, we need to forget God in the equation because, Jesus's job was to reconcile us to the Father, and then Jesus becoming the, the exalted person in the Godhead is almost like the reward for the job that he did, reconciling us. It's like Jesus found God's missing wallet that had all the priceless stuff in it. And as a result, Jesus got the prize of being, the glorious one that we all worship or whatever. Like, yeah. Okay, so it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to bed and I'm going to stop talking. So, good night.